Hi everyone, I'm Dan McDermott. This is Google Plus Week, episode 18, our unofficial look at the world's coolest social network. Joining me from Google Plus is a Google Plus Hangout with, so far, we haven't opened it up to public yet, but it's got about 8 folks in it. And we're going to begin with, well, first I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the tech topics, and then we've got a gentleman here from Egypt who's going to give us a quick update that's totally unrelated to the show, but it's always interesting to get his take on things that are happening down over in Egypt. On the show today, we're going to discuss Google Plus is wooing politicians, and one site notices that 2 politicians that one is President Obama, who is, I guess, the highest-ranking politician, and the other is Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker, who was an early adopter, were both left off their list of examples, and they're calling it a diss. We'll go into that. Klout, the social ranking site that tells you how much clout you have, has now incorporated Google Plus into its data, and I'll discuss what impact that had on me and what impact that had on some other folks who were didn't see such a big change. And then Britney Spears is hotter than Larry Page, apparently, so we've confirmed that if you had any doubts, and some other tech stuff. But first I want to get, because the internet is shaky over there, I want to get Ahmed Kaka from are you in Cairo?
No, Alexandria.
Alexandria, Egypt. Okay, and he always says that his English isn't that great, but it's a whole lot better than my Arabic, and we understand you great, and I really appreciate you coming on here. So, again, this is not a tech topic, but we never know how long he's going to have internet over there, so we're going to get him in real quick. Now, my understanding is, and the criticism I've leveled and a bunch of people leveled, is when Hosni Mubarak left Egypt, that put the generals who were in charge under Hosni Mubarak still in charge. And I guess the folks in Egypt are saying that they've been procrastinating. Now they're saying that they are going to surrender power in July to a civilian government. And the folks are back in Tahrir Square, hundreds of thousands of people protesting. And now they're going on TV and they're saying, you know, hang on, we can't just not have a government until we elect somebody. What is the feeling over in Alexandria and Egypt in general from your perspective, being there and being an Egyptian? Give us an update on what the status is.
Well, at first, when after 25 January revolution, the military, after Hosni Mubarak's step down, he bought the military in charge, the military council in charge of the country. So the military councils are 20 persons that are ruling Egypt right now. After that, these 20 persons are the followers of Hosni Mubarak for 20 years. You imagine that. Followers are ruling Egypt right now. They are in charge right now for 10 months, and after that you see them do nothing. Yeah, we get down to Tahrir Square here in Alexandria. We get down to streets. Why are doing that? 10 months and you did nothing. That's it.
Well, that's the thing, and I remember when they left, the observation I made that a lot of it was obvious is that the same guys are running it now that ran it under Mubarak, but Mubarak went out of favor, and they figured we'll get rid of the figurehead leader, and then you know, we'll still have the money and the power and the fast cars and the women, the whole deal. And so not much seems to have changed, except you lost a figurehead who I don't know what the status of his trial is, but it seems like he's allegedly on death's door, and they can never actually, they're just waiting out until, I guess, he dies of natural causes. So it doesn't seem like you've accomplished much, and I guess that's the feeling, and that's why folks are back in Tahrir Square. So what do you think? Do you think it's going to be till July before a civilian government is installed? Do you think they'll ever, in the short term, have a civilian government, or do you think this is all just a scam?
Yeah, I think that by July there will be a civilian government. You know, there is something called Tahrir Square. We can get down to that million and 2 million, even 6 million, as you saw that at 25 January. I think that it's gonna be a civilian government by next July, and you see that at the uh, Marshal Tantawi saying that in his speech about that, but I'm gonna blame on the US government that last week uh, the- last week there were clashes between and the our cops and the protesters there in Tahrir Square. I'm gonna blame on them exporting tear gas and nervous gas to us. We saw the tear gas made in USA. The President Obama about the uprisings were in Egypt at 28 January 2011 said that I want to be very clear in calling upon the Egyptian authorities to refrain from any violence against these protesters. The people of Egypt have rights that are universal. That includes the right to peaceful assembly and association, the right to free speech, and the ability to determine their own destiny. These are human rights, and the United States will stand up for them everywhere. If that's standing up with us here in Egypt, exporting our cops the tear gas and nervous gas that have side effects on our bodies. Yeah, I'm gonna blame that on the government, on the U.S. government for that.
I would clarify that I think that they, not as an excuse, but I don't think I mean, I think that that was all purchased. I'm assuming purchased prior to the Arab Spring Revolution, and I mean, we can argue about the pros and cons of it, and it doesn't obviously in retrospect seem like such a hot idea. But I've seen that picture of the guy holding up the can made in the USA, and obviously, as you have freedom, folks searching for freedom in Egypt, trying to get rights similar to what we have in the United States, and they're holding up a can showing that the people putting them down are using, made in the USA products. But I don't know enough about when they were sent over there, if they were overtly or covertly delivered there or what. But I would imagine we straight up sent them, and we've lost him, I think. Okay, well, all right, well, we'll move on. And like I said, the internet's spotty over there. But he was making the point, his connection is bad, but he was making the point that the tear gas being used against the protesters is made in the United States. At least the label says that on some of the stuff, and obviously that's, in retrospect, embarrassing, and a whole topic for a different program. But what I want to do, I want to get back to Google Plus Week, which is why we're actually here. I appreciate you, my fellow tech geeks, putting up with the international discussion briefly there. But let me get to, I guess, Klout is, I'm going to go to a real tech topic, then we get to politics again, about the political wooing by Google. But Klout, I want to ask real quick. I want to ask Alan about his thoughts on this. Alan, are you on Klout? I signed up for it. I made fun of it at one point because I thought it was silly and who cares. And then they incorporated Google Plus, and I went up to it like a 60, and so now I like it. What do you think? Is this stupid nonsense, or does this matter? I know. I'm
not on Klout. I think I'm not on Klout. I think it's utterly stupid. I don't think it matters, and every person, the only people who I see who seem to care anything at all about it seem to be the people who are self-promoting themselves, and basically the marketers. I never heard of Klout until I showed up on Google+. I think most people have never heard of Klout before. I don't think anybody cares about what these guys are trying to say or do.
That was a great post on TechCrunch. It went viral. It said, nobody gives a damn about your Klout score. Oleg, are you on Klout?
After I read about it, I mean, a while back, I signed up just like any new thing that I get that, to try to see what it is, and, vast majority of it then, falls on its face, so I just don't even bother coming back. But this thing, they sent me some deal saying that my Klout has been raised because of Google+, yada yada, and so I looked on the site, and I guess I got some, I just, like, I agree with the other gentleman that was saying that, I don't think it means anything in terms of, if you look at the big picture, there's nobody to be able to do this on a major scale, looking at everything you post, everywhere you post, what you do, what you don't do. I mean, there's no service out there on the planet that can do that right now. So with that being the case, it's not that useful because they just can't do it.
It
what they're
seems to
trying
be
to do.
fairly accurate, I guess. I mean, you see like Justin Bieber's 100 and someone who has 3 followers and just signed up for stuff is going to be a lower number, so it seems relatively accurate. I'm not sure what the relevance is. I think it would be handy if it'd be helpful if you were venting, as I often do, against companies that screw me over like Yahoo or Sprint when I'm angry at them, and you tweet something, they might respond, send you up to the executive cubicle support level quicker if you have more clout. Adam, you've joined us, and of course we discussed a previous show. I guess you're discriminated against on clout because Facebook is one of the things they measure, and you're not on Facebook now involuntarily.
Neither am I.
But,
I closed my Facebook account.
Adam, what do you think about clout and that whole interesting concept of some company rating you with some secret algorithm and determining that you have more or less clout than someone else?
Frankly, I find it strange. I find it useless, and it doesn't put any money in my pocket, so I don't even bother with it.
Well, that's a practical, practical response. Yeah, I think I'm not sure what it's just. It's something silly. I'm not sure what the practical implication is of it, but
I'm not sure why people are so fascinated by it. I mean, what fascinates me when it comes to, like, let's say your popularity is how many major news stories have been out about you, how many media outlets have covered you. That's important. Not how many pluses you have or how many. I don't see the importance in all what they're measuring. It really doesn't make much sense to me at all. I mean, this is coming from a guy who's been covered worldwide in the news. But I mean, let's say for the normal person, like, how does it make you or anybody better if they have like more pluses or whatever?
I think the algorithm is solely there, and it's solely designed so that people who like navel gazing will be able to see something. I think it really serves absolutely no useful purpose whatsoever.
Unless Google decides to get into the ring and starts actually using them to do whatever they're going to do, then it's going to make a difference.
Guys, everyone's talking about a secret algorithm without really recognizing the fact that that's what Google's based on. So I'm not sure why there's so much distaste or lack of acceptance for an algorithm when it's Klout. And I'm not defending Klout for any reason other than just when I hear people say secret algorithm, I mean, would Google give away their algorithms? No.
Yeah, but it's different.
It's not different. I mean, it's not different. It's equally stupid.
It's not. It's not. No. It's totally different because Google has a universe of things that it indexes and rates. Klout does not. Klout does not.
While you were speaking, I'm sorry. You mentioned trying to track everything everywhere on the web, and that's not the case. So they do very clearly say which networks they're calculating.
That's what makes them useless. Because if you're going to give somebody a rating based on what they do and how they do it, then you better be checking everywhere. What good does it do? It's like saying, the car is supposed to have 4 wheels, but as long as we put one on it, it's going to run. It's not going to be good enough.
But it's an imperfect science, right? But it's at the very beginning of something that you cannot index all that information at once. We all know the biggest services out there, cannot do it either. So
I don't think you ever will, because I'm not coming back to Facebook under any circumstances. And if they're going to use Facebook as one of the criteria to do the whatever their gauge comes out to be, then I'm always going to be not where I'm supposed to be because they don't use Facebook.
Select if you'd like Facebook to be used or not. You select whether you'd like Twitter to be used. You select if you'd like Tumblr to be used. You select one of 12 to 15 networks. So this is not, to be perfectly honest, they're very transparent about which networks they're including in your score. And you as a user are checking boxes.
I don't think the transparency or the secret algorithm or whatever is the issue. I think the issue is that what they're trying to do is to essentially assign a score to people when, quite honestly, who cares and who needs it? People who are popular are going to be popular. People who aren't. You don't need a freaking number to know this.
Well, you know who does need it, and I'll tell you this, and this is something unfortunate that I've seen develop quite a bit, is there are a lot of employers who don't understand these networks, don't understand Klout, and they do care. I've seen many job descriptions that say Klout score of XYZ, and you can say, oh, you don't want a job there, but if this becomes a metric that employers are actually concerned about, you are going to care.
Are you serious? No, actually, that's a job requirement? That's listed as an official job requirement? You have to have a Klout
I've seen it as a minimum on multiple job descriptions.
That's insane. I can't believe that. That's mind-boggling.
Especially, as I said,
that
because
is
it's
nuts.
kind of useless.
I mean,
So
you
it
could
could
have
be,
someone like
a
John
year or two
McCain.
from now, there's another metric, like your plus metric. Who knows, right?
So John McCain, who doesn't even send email and isn't on any social networks personally, I assume, has no clout. But he's a former candidate for president. I'm just throwing him out. I mean, of course, it's a social net. It's your clout on social networks. I mean, that's what they're saying. So that's a fair. That's
No,
not
but
really
if you take, I'm sure Obama will probably have a fairly high score, and he doesn't do squat. So I mean, that's another perfect example how useless this is.
Well, I guess it's
I'm
not
not
you.
suggesting that-
We can ridicule. We can say it's silly, but she has a point. If you're trying to get a job in certain things, if you wanted to be, say, a tech writer, and they wanted someone who is tuned in to tech, to social, who is going to help the company that they're going to write for. In other words, if you hired M.G. Siegler to write for your publication, he has a vast network of followers. And so immediately, in addition to buying his quality writing, you are buying his influence and his ability to make a good post go viral. Whereas if you could
amplify
be
the
a
content.
wonderful Pulitzer Prize-winning economics writer who no one outside those circles knows anything about, you could be writing circles around M.G. Siegler. But for that kind of for a company, when you know if they want their posts to get out in that domain because maybe they're advertisers or tech related, that sort of thing, then I could see it. Although that's shocking to me that would actually be in a job description that you have.
But 2 or 3 years ago, it was very common to ask how many Twitter followers someone had, or to say minimum X amount of Twitter followers. Then that was thrown out the window, and we all thought, oh, how ridiculous. There are silly metrics out there. We all know that don't make a lot of sense. But to dismiss them and say they're useless when we know that they are determining, there are companies that are using them to determine their decisions. Just like you said, the customer service side, there are many customer service processes where you can filter based on clout. Like, I'm not going to respond to John Smith unless he has a blah, blah, blah.
That's incredible.
And I don't
now there's
buy
going to be a
into that.
lawsuit because someone's going to be denied a job because they have a
Absolutely.
low cloud score, and they're going to dispute the algorithm, and they're going to say it's wrong, and they're going to sue, and they're going to ask for the source code of the algorithm. I can see it now. I'm sure Adam's head is
I don't
turning.
think so because California, for example, is one of the states where you don't have to provide evidence for hiring or not hiring.
Right to work state is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that you could say purple hair people.
They're not a protected group. Correct. If you're handicapped or based on religion or a protected group, then they can't discriminate. And it's but yeah, Virginia. I mean, in most states they can hire and fire. But anyway, okay. So we all agree on cloud.
Well, let me
go ahead.
Let me jump in with something else. So there are two factors with clout. One factor is my clout score is high if I'm using more of the social networks and doing it repeatedly. In other words, I'm prolific in my posting. That's one aspect. So some company might be interested in knowing, how knowledgeable I am about the various social media networks. The other aspect of it is then how many times is what I tweeted or posted on Google Plus or Facebook shared. That's the measure of influence. So I can see where it would be helpful, but like most people here, I don't like it when somebody comes up with some things and they're saying, I'm going to measure your influence when they don't have any clue what my influence is.
Well, they're measuring your influence on allegedly on social networking. They're not saying your influence in general.
Right.
For example, the Dalai Lama, probably, I don't know what his clout score is. I don't know if he actually is active. I know he did a hangout, I assume with some assistants, probably Vic and like 12 engineers in the room. But yeah, I think I think one thing guaranteed is it's good for Google Plus to get more people on, because anybody who cares about that thing is going to realize my score went up from 46 to or 48 to 60.
But that's because it's
immediately
public
because of
content
Google
only.
Plus.
Yeah, your score's not going to go up by posting what you ate at Denny's. It's going to go up when you post a link, like a link to this page, and people click on it and they find out more information, drives more traffic here. So,
and I found the analytics were really interesting. When I go to Klout, I can get better analytics than from Google on my Google Plus page. I think it said I had like 1,500 shares or something in the last 90 days or whatever it was. And I don't get those stats, I don't think, from Google. So I found that useful.
No, but the whole thing, I don't know. I'm looking at the page right now. So I come up, first I go into Klout.com. It immediately pops up saying it gave me 5 more points. I have no idea why. Okay, whatever. Then the next thing you click on it, it says you influence Paul Stanner. Who the hell is Paul Stanner? I have no idea who this guy is.
They're trying to
That means
get him to join.
he responds to your posts or shares them.
I have no idea who this guy is. Never heard the name. So then it tells me that I can invite him because he's not on this deal. So basically, they're begging to get people invited somehow, supposedly under the guise that I'm influencing them. Okay, from all the little buttons that they have, the only things I have highlighted are Twitter, G+, and LinkedIn. And it says under my picture, it says I'm conversationalist. What is that based on?
Read it. So you guys are. I have no problem with critiquing something, but I think you have to do the research and actually.
And then it says influential topics, Apple. Give me a break. I mean, I'm about as anti-Apple as somebody can get, and it says that my influential topic is Apple.
You can be anti-Apple and be influential in Apple, right?
So explain to me how is it relevant that Apple.
If I critique a company on a regular basis, I'm going to be influential on that company.
Then Oleg will be very, very influential about Apple.
No, I think
if I speak about Egypt often,
okay,
and I'm not positive, it doesn't mean that I skew to the positive side. It just means that that people listen to me when I speak about that topic.
Okay, Eliza, personal question: are you working for them?
No, and that's what bothers me is that in this panel, I don't see anyone who's actually really looking at the other side of the fact that there's demand, right?
Absolutely.
So somebody is.
Well, what is the demand? No, hang on.
This is I gotta say, Alan, this is a total potential Michael Arrington, Leo Laporte moment, right there. Go ahead, Alan.
The question is, what is the demand for?
I don't work for them. Look at my bio on Klout.
No, I'm joking. I don't want somebody to get mad. I'm just joking around.
I'm trying to carry on this conversation.
No question. There's a demand.
The question is, you stated there's a demand. The question is, what is the demand for? Is the demand for an easy way to reduce people to a number, to categorize them and label them?
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
So you're saying the demand is for increased mindlessness. And I would say, okay, fine. Do we really want companies to reduce people to a number? And when I say companies, I mean people who want to use a Klout score. Do we want people
but it's not a question whether
to a number?
What do you mean?
No. That is the question, apparently.
No, because you're saying, do we want? It's like you have a choice. Companies want to have, she's saying there is demand, and companies are the ones who have
And I'm turning around and saying, do we want these companies? Companies are doing it because they want to do things the easiest, quickest, simplest, and cheapest way possible.
Right.
Okay. You're right. Customer service. They want a number they can cut off, right?
Right.
Marketing.
Right.
I don't know about the customer service.
This is what marketing does.
I do.
And what I am arguing, and what I would like to, what I think my view on this is that what the modern social networking does is it tells companies like that to go to hell, because companies that do start acting that way are increasingly the ones who are being told that they're ineffective in a social network.
Well, okay, let's move on. I will say this: it's just like I'm in the news business, so you see people love the Fortune 500 list, and they want to know, is it did I make it? I'm down, oh no, I'm 18 this year and I was 16 last year, and again, that's based on what they think and public information and private hunches and secret information they get. There's no clear-cut algorithm out there because some people try to hide it.
Dan,
people love those things.
Dan, do you remember who number 7 was in the Fortune 500 in 2001?
Obviously, no.
Really?
I have no idea.
Big company. It was in the news that year, all over the place.
Steve Jobs?
Close.
WorldCom?
Enron was number 7.
Well, probably on paper
numbers
they were.
Are freaking meaningless.
No, on paper they were. Don't tell that to the retarees who lost a fortune.
Yeah, don't tell that to anyone who's running a business on AdWords.
The answer, the difference is that what AdWords is trying to do, what everyone is really wanting to do, is connect increasingly personally. Reducing people to scores is depersonalizing them.
But it's a metric that people find interesting.
Can use, yeah, no question. There is a demand because it's interesting and useful. The problem is they cannot come up with it being accurate. That's the biggest problem with it. They cannot make it accurate.
I don't work for them. I don't think they would argue it's accurate. They are one of many companies, let's be honest, that are out there trying to do what they're doing to figure it out.
In that case, I would say what Alan says, it's useless. If it's not accurate, it's useless.
I would say it's,
how do you ever make it accurate if you don't take a stab and start somewhere?
It's about 80% accurate 80% of the time, roughly. You know what I mean? But how do I know?
I don't know.
Who do we know?
Exactly.
But I know it's sort of accurate on the people I've seen, with a few exceptions. But this is valuable to companies because all of a sudden you've got these companies like Ford or GE or whomever, Sprint, and they're not. All of a sudden they have to come to grips with this thing, with the impact of social. You can have a video go viral and destroy your company. Look, the chicken plant that they just, or the egg plant that McDonald's and Target just, one YouTube video. It's not an entirely related example, but all of a sudden they have to come to grips with this, and they have to acknowledge it, and they have to deal with it, and they might not be equipped to do that. And so there are companies that these companies have a lot of money, and they come up with these metrics to say that this person rates, and if he sends you an email bitching about something, you better jump on it. And if someone else sends you an email, then you don't have to send them up to executive support.
What Twitter and what other social networks have shown us is that even people who would be ranked very low can very quickly virally market something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the exception, not the rule.
No, it's not the exception. Increasingly, it's the rule. It's been demonstrated more than once.
Yeah, but I disagree. I think if someone who has a dozen followers on Twitter tweets something, that the likelihood of that going viral is less than if Britney Spears tweets that she's changed her shampoo brand.
But if somebody tweets something and somehow Ashton Kutcher gets a hold of it and then he retweets it, you have a totally different scenario, even though it wasn't started by him.
Correct.
Okay.
Why? Because you're assuming that Ashton Kutcher can amplify something, whereas the
well,
first
I'm not
person
assuming.
can.
I know he can. I mean, that's not an assumption. Yep.
So you're making similar assumptions.
No, it's a given deal. I mean, it's not a question.
But if I'm not Ashton Kutcher, nor are you. So where is and I'm not suggesting that we should have scores on our heads. I think it is a weird, foreign, odd, bizarre concept. I'm just saying that I can see when you talk about Ashton Kutcher, you see the logic. It's like, yeah, of course.
The problem, though, is if companies start, basically, if companies go with Dan's scenario of they look up your Klout score before they figure out where you're going to be on the queue to answer your question, what we're going to see is, what we as customers are going to see is a decrease in customer service, and what they as companies are going to see is an increase in customer complaints, and which they don't want.
What have we seen, right?
It is what we have seen, but what we have also seen is there's been an increase in consumer backlash, and that has been a massive problem with these companies trying to deal with social.
Yep,
it is a fact of life.
Doing?
It's a fact of life that different people.
Customer facing.
It's a fact of life that different people get treated differently. When William Shatner had a problem with his account, like a dozen top-level executives at Google sprang into action. If Priz, he's screwed. He has to sign up or something. If you're just one of us, a regular person, whatever, but depending,
But look, I'll give you an example, personal example. Okay, I'm a nobody guy, just like most people are, in terms of this kind of level. Okay, yet I got contacted by a gentleman who actually does reports for BBC News in England because of the topic that I posted about Google's problems with security when people activate their Androids, and he actually had a BBC News piece about some technology deal he does every week discussing that very topic, and he contacted me off the web out of the blue because he saw my post dealing with this particular topic on Google forums. So things happen like that, and then he did talk about it right there on BBC.
Yeah, okay? If you get people still do searches now. I mean, I've been on national TV a few times because someone saw something, they Googled some story I wrote, and it's powerful, and but I guess it's a metric. It's not going away. People love these things. We have discussed it, like in Warren County, where we have the biggest newspaper in Warren County, and I was like, well, let's do a thing. The 100 most influential people in Warren County. Let's rank them. Let's get a, figure out how to do it. And that would be the hottest issue. I don't know how. That's why we haven't done it yet. I don't want to piss anybody off. And I want to make sure.
What kind of magic sauce do you have there?
But apparently all I have to do is get it 80% right 80% of the time. But no, the thing is, it was just, I thought, that would be the hottest issue of the week, of the year. Everyone will be curious. That's just the way we are. We're curious, how do I rate in the social scale? And the problem, I think a lot of the hostility we get from these things is we don't like to admit that we are interested in how we rate in the back of our mind, maybe. But anyway, all I can say is I went up and I'm happy that I didn't go down. But it was interesting, like Robert Scoble only went up like 1 or 2 points, and I went up like 12 points because he's more diverse. And I guess, but I definitely think that it's not going anywhere. I definitely think it's good for Google Plus that more people are going to be on there, because you got to be if you care about these silly numbers, which do actually apparently matter for certain job applications or if what have you. Okay, so we all agree on that. All right, Google is. I don't know if this is really a big story. I just thought it was interesting. Google woos politicians to Google Plus. They've put this special guide. Just typical marketing. You want to find a segment that, and then of course you're going to think, oh, my opponent might go on there. I better get on there. And I guess President Obama went on there a few days ago, and Newt Gingrich was an early adopter. And then there was this article. Let me find it here. There was an article that
was it really President Obama? Because I posted something and someone said it was a fake account.
Well, a fake account.
Verified.
If
it's verified.
It's
okay,
verified.
So maybe there were several.
I mean, I don't think it's personally Barack Obama.
Of course not, but it is a verified account. It's definitely.
It's a verified page. It's not an account.
Well, page, whatever.
Still, yeah, well, that is different, right? You can have a company. Yeah, it's the Barack Obama page.
And technically, it's the Barack Obama campaign page.
That's not the one I shared. Interesting, because I guess I got a copycat.
Yeah, no, there is a there's a page and it's his page.
It's not his page. It is his campaign's page.
What's the difference?
It means he can not have to necessarily post. Someone else can post on his behalf.
Everybody posts on his behalf everywhere. What do you think he posts? Anywhere?
No, it's because you're required to do it that way, A. B, the difference is mired in campaign law. But basically, Barack Obama for president is different than Barack Obama the president is different than Barack Obama.
Okay. In his mind, it's the same thing. So.
Well, anyway, he signed up a few days ago, and he has Newt Gingrich was an early adopter. Is there anything? I mean, this diss thing is just interesting. I mean, they're not dissing. I don't agree with that. The thing is, they listed how several campaigns were using it, and they neglected to mention Newt Gingrich, who was an early adopter and doing hangouts and stuff. And
it's important to understand why they didn't list Newt Gingrich, and that's because Newt Gingrich's page is Newt Gingrich, the individual.
Oh, okay.
And the whole point of what Google was putting out was saying, hey, you don't want to do that, you want to do a page.
Okay, now, yeah, that makes sense.
Now, why they didn't use Barack Obama, I don't know, but my guess is that whoever prepared it probably prepared it several days before the Obama campaign actually did come out.
Yeah. Why didn't they ask Newt Gingrich to switch it to a page?
They probably did, and he hasn't done so yet.
He's been busy.
It takes long. You got to realize, Liza, it's a whole 30, 45-second process to do this thing. So
I don't think you can convert it. Can you convert it?
No, but you can set up a new page. It takes 2 seconds.
Can you convert it?
No, you can't convert it. But that individual could create
easily. Page. Yes. Yeah.
But you lose your content.
Yes.
So that's why he never would convert it. It's similar to the Facebook page issues.
He's busy leading the presidential field with no staff. So I guess he doesn't have, since they quit, he has no staff. I'm kidding.
He actually got up in polls. He's doing better than he was before.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Okay, Britney Spears is hotter than Larry Page. She's now the leading person on Google Plus. It was, I guess, Zuckerberg, and then.
Well, it just shows how screwed up this whole count is, anyway.
No, I think she's more popular. I would say Britney Spears is more popular than.
It's not that. It's just Zuckerberg. Basically, what was the point of him being at the top? He didn't post anything, at least not to public, and so he was just there. And the fact that he was there, everybody were following him. And if you think about why, I mean, I don't know how other people follow other people, but whenever somebody has no posts, there's no way I would follow these people for anything. if they don't post anything, what's the point of following them? In my view, doesn't make any sense.
What if they do post something?
If they do post something, well,
was he
it
a
may
recommended
happen,
a recommended person to follow? That would be interesting to know.
I'm sure Zuckerberg was too, but you know, I mean, that's the silly thing about this whole following thing.
No, Zuckerberg was on top from literally from the first
Beginning.
day that it
Yeah,
opened.
exactly, from the very get-go.
That's funny.
Yep, and he didn't post anything.
No, he didn't. Well, nothing publicly.
Right.
And then there's this new Google Plus for Dummies book out. I was going to suggest, Oleg, you could review that for us next.
Yeah, review.
I personally, you know, to me, it's a. Sorry that I look at it this way, but I don't read anything that says for dummies. I just, not that I have any high opinion of myself, but yeah, I don't do dummy books.
I'd like to get a picture of you holding it.
Yeah, I don't read it. No, I don't read that.
That'd be a funny picture if you could get someone,
I would read it.
famous politician reading that book.
Okay, well, Liza can review it then.
Yeah, I mean, I have no pride about reading Dummies books.
The thing is, though, you're buying a print book, and there's a Kindle version. It's cheap. I looked at it. I think it's real cheap. So it must not be that thick. But also, it keeps changing every few days. I mean, it would be out of date by the time they approved it.
That's one problem. Second problem, I mean, how many features? I mean, we're not talking about Photoshop for dummies here. We're talking about Google Plus. What is there to teach people about Google Plus that somebody cannot learn on their own in a very short amount of time?
There are a shocking number of features which are badly documented.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree.
I don't know.
Just try to manage your photos. It is amazing at how difficult it is to do.
I find photos to be the most painful point of the entire application.
I would agree. It is absolutely excruciating. And the worst part is, it's infinitely better than it was, and it still sucks.
Yep.
No, but I understand. Managing them on Google Plus?
Yes.
Yes.
You have to go between
why don't you manage them on Picasa? It's so much better.
No, several reasons. One is that they've made it more difficult to manage on Picasa. Two, it's not even like Picasa is all that easy to use itself. Three, because that requires jumping through about 4 windows. And 4, because depending on how you're doing authentication, you can't.
Yep. And you can't do it from a mobile device, that's for sure. So if you actually take time to do it from a desktop.
Yeah, I wish you could share a picture on Google Plus from an Android phone.
Hey, Ellen, are you using the Picasa downloaded program, or are you just using the Picasa web online?
Both.
Now the web online is the way to go. You really don't even need the one on your desktop at all. The program.
Well, the only problem with web online is they give you limited space unless you buy more space. So that's you got to keep that in mind.
Right, exactly.
But in terms of desktop, you can have a huge external hard drive and go to town, or you can get one of those Pogo Plug accounts or SkyDrive or any of the other accounts. Just dump
not compatible with a mobile user though. So for example, if I move all my photos over and I go to share a photo from my phone, it's not there.
It's not there where?
It's not on my phone because it's in my photos.
Right.
In the cloud.
Through Picasa.
Okay, well, one way to get around is to use something like Dropbox. If you have enough storage.
I have Dropbox, but it's just astounding that
So now we're up to 3 different programs just to manage some stupid family photos.
But
is it tough? Facebook can do this.
Come on, it's okay. Facebook can do what?
Facebook managing photos is dead simple.
Oh no. All right, well, we have a problem. We just lost the Hangout. They bit of a drag. I'll let me see. There's one live Hangout. I wonder if I can. That's not mine. Let's. All right, what I'm going to do, I'll just show you as I go here. I'm gonna bring this back in. They were doing great. Let's go extended circles. Let's go public, and Hangout. Hopefully we'll get somebody. Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, and the thing just eventually reboots. Can't use Facebook, the word Facebook. Dan, don't do this again.
What happened? Did you guys rejoin?
We dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah.
Yeah, the server crashed.
Reason 26.
What how did you all just rejoin the Hangout, or did
I did.
Yes.
No, yes, I rejoined.
We
Oh,
all
okay.
rejoined the Hangout.
That was amazingly quick. I mean, I clicked start. I clicked to start a hangout, and like immediately everyone's back in it.
Because we all went back into the same we all went back into the same hangout that just happened to be on a different server now.
Correct.
Okay.
The thing we have to remember about hangouts is there's no such thing as a private hangout. We all went back to the exact same location that we did before.
Hmm.
Just happened to be on a different server now.
It has to be the word Facebook. Has to be. I mean, there's no other explanation.
Definitely, it's obviously a conspiracy. All right, so I don't know what anybody was saying, but you guys were mid sentence, and all right, so Oleg and Liza are gonna review Google Plus for Dummies and report back.
I don't have a copy.
It's
I have a
only
Kindle.
cheap. You can get it. You can get the Kindle
It's
version
not
for.
the cost. I just.
And I don't want a copy.
It's $8. Oleg, I'd like a picture of you
Oleg
holding
refuses to hold it.
the book cover.
I don't have a book.
If you could
I don't
hold it
want a book.
upside down, that would be even better.
So Dan, you want her to buy it, read it, and review it during the show?
Who's
Or?
working for who here?
I could read it during a commercial break, during a server crash.
Do you need an intern or what? Because I can probably refer someone your way.
I appreciate that. All right. Okay. So what else? Let me find the Google Doc here. I got kind of off track when we lost our.
144 pages. This book is 144 pages.
Is it? That doesn't seem like a lot.
It seems
course
like
it's a
140
lot.
pages more than you'd expect.
Exactly.
It'd be funny. I remember. I don't know. Okay. Some of you have had mustaches on, except Bruce, who's too conservative for that. I see Harold there. And this has a meaning. They're putting this just in the regular Hangouts, right? Priz, why don't you tell us what this is about for November?
This is, well, it's two things. The first is that it's a funny new thing that they've done for Mo Member, or whatever it is, which is a movement to promote men's health. But what they're using it for is to demonstrate a technology that's slowly going to be making its way into Hangouts and making its way for outside non-Google programmers to tap into, to allow us to overlay images onto our Google video stream.
It's awesome.
So it is truly awesome. It is great that they're going in this direction, that they'll be giving us this feature. And this was just a cute, quick demo that they threw together in about a day to tell us they were working on it and to show us the awesome power of the mustache. I mean, the awesome power of what's going to be coming.
It was funny earlier when they had the mustache and you were in vigorous debate about some point and you had this fake mustache on your face and it was hard to take you seriously.
Dan, it's hard to take me seriously all the time.
Total waste of time.
I wasn't gonna.
Well, no, the mustache itself is a total waste of time. I will 100% agree with that. In fact, I think that Google will 100% agree with that. What's important, though, to understand is the technology that's behind it is going to be letting us do some really awesome things.
Like what?
Well, try taking. So I was in a hangout where someone. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead, Liz.
I was just going to say we took tape and covered up certain features to see how it would change. So it's all about facial recognition. It's really, this is huge.
This is huge in a lot of ways. It's not just about facial recognition. For non-Google programmers, what this is going to let us do is, you know how often we see Harold has on his lower thirds comment about who he is, some information about himself. This will let anybody do that without having to add on a program. You can do it with, this will be features that will be built into Hangouts itself.
So why not show that particular feature as the feature as opposed to the stupid mustache is my question.
Well, it's two reasons. One is Google won't necessarily be doing this. They're going to be giving outside programmers the ability to do this.
Having the mustache.
It's a way. It's a viral thing. I mean, it's a cute way to introduce a topic. Just like having, they can talk about Hangouts all day long, but then when will.i.am does one, all of a sudden it's news. There's that video.
It's cute and it's silly, and it took them a day to program it just to demonstrate that they could.
Which is huge.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's cool. You know, it's gimmicky, and if it draws attention to this, gets more people on the thing, the more people who are on here, the more interesting it is.
I mean, it's the same sort of reason why everyone was talking about the graphics kit back at Halloween. They were talking about making people into zombies. They were doing all of these things, completely ignoring the fact that the real cool stuff that was going on was the 98% of the rest of the graphic kit that was going on there.
But you know what all the news stories
stuff,
said?
Who cared?
The news stories had Britney Spears with fangs. That was in the top of the Google News stories.
Hey, that's your organization there.
Why is there a mustache?
Oh, it's the mustache. It's a feature they've just introduced for Movember, I guess. It's a way to highlight men's health by putting fake mustaches on, and of course.
Yeah, the way it works is it basically works by eye recognition. If you cover one eye and you move, it basically follows your. See that? By covering one eye, so it's basically is eye recognition is the way it works.
That would violate the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Let me try it.
Absolutely.
That's outrageous.
Next
There's another
topic.
lawsuit. There's another lawsuit. Some Cyclops guy is gonna sue.
Cover this eye.
All right, so we have we've done Egypt, we've done the mustaches. I think somebody wanted to talk about the future of music. The 200 labels have left Spotify. Who can weigh in on this? Anybody care about this? Oleg, are you?
No.
Well, it's
You're
I mean,
a music
it's-
guy.
I read somewhere that it's not that big of a deal. I mean, all my searches on Spotify that I'm doing in terms of the stuff I like, it still comes up with plenty and plenty and plenty. You know, Google Music still sucks in terms of selection, and Spotify doesn't. I mean, that's all I can say about that.
Why do you say Google Music sucks when Google Music is based on what you own and upload?
No, it's not. I mean, not only. I mean, they allow me to shop for anything I want to shop, and I'm just saying when I want to go to shop, then I can find, very limited selection of what I'm looking for. So it's not just for my music.
iTunes is clearly the king, and then but Spotify is, I guess it's free. And what do you all think about this whole frictionless sharing thing? I don't like that at all.
Bad.
I mean, what if you were Alan? What if you're, what if your kid gets on your computer and is listening to a bunch of Justin Bieber music and
let's knock that one out. Your kid
I'm
shouldn't be
sorry,
on your
excuse me,
computer.
can I
They should be on
interrupt?
their own account.
Can I interrupt?
Okay, let's
Can I
eliminate that.
interrupt?
yeah? Oh, hang on one sec. Go ahead. Is
Can I
that Richard?
interrupt?
Yeah, Richard. Go ahead, buddy.
Nobody listens to Justin Bieber.
Well, some girls do. He has 600 million views on YouTube.
Oh, well, there's just people going there to dislike the video.
Some people like him, but not
Well,
everybody
that's
likes him.
news to me.
All right. Let me go back to Alan real quick. Alan, you were saying about the
I don't know, what was I ranting about this time?
Frictionless.
Oh yeah,
frictionless sharing. Yeah, you're a big fan. Go ahead and
I'm an utter fan. I think this is the greatest thing in the world. I think this is so good. The reason why I think it's so good is because the number of people who seem to be hating Facebook because of it has been radically on the increase. Every person I talk to, they're trying to figure out how to turn off frictionless sharing, and they can't figure it out.
yeah, this is. I mean, we're like talk about a potential for an Anthony Weiner moment. If he tweeted this or whatever he did, but like I could, and that's a graphic example, but you might, I don't know. I mean, I could see just things you're reading that you wouldn't want in the general public to know, or whatever. If someone used your computer, the other day I posted something on Google Plus, and a neighbor came in, and I have like 6 computers in here, and he didn't have a computer, so he wanted to use Facebook. So he went in there, he turned the computer on. It was my laptop. So I put it on a table over there. He's on the laptop, and he's on Google Plus, and I posted something, I forget what it was, and then he typed in, "Hi, Dan," thinking he was sending me a message. Well, he was logged in as me. So it was my post, and then at the bottom I said, "Hi, Dan," to myself with my picture next to it. And I was like, what the heck is this? And so I went and I deleted it. But it was, I could see anyone looking at that wondering if I'm talking to myself or something, And it's the same sort of thing. You could inadvertently, something could go out, I'm not a fan of that, and I don't think it's clear to people. That's why, like, it hurts these apps, because I'll see someone has read a story on Yahoo News, and I click to read the story, and instead it says, you know, you allow me to post to your wall and to do this, and like, screw that. So I won't install any of those apps, because I don't want to spend an hour looking through the feature set, especially when Facebook has a history of changing the privacy settings and opting you in as a default. Anybody else want to?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. A rare moment of agreement. We're not about that. And then there was an interesting story. Amazon Kindle's damaged by airport scanners. I don't know if that's...
So wait a minute. Back to this before you leave this.
Yeah,
so
go
Alan,
ahead.
is there a way to turn off frictionless sharing? You kind of hinted at that. And
No.
and if you can't, what's the alternative?
No. For some things, there is no way to turn off frictionless sharing. If
Okay.
you're in Spotify, for example, you're required to log into Spotify with your Facebook account, and you are required to frictionlessly share all of your music that you listen to. I have friends who I know exactly when their baby is going to sleep because suddenly their Spotify is spewing all sorts of lullabies.
I don't log in Spotify with my Facebook.
You're not on Facebook.
I'm not on Facebook, right? But that's what you're saying. You're required to log in with Facebook. You're
Were
not
you in the
required.
Spotify beta?
Well, I mean, I've had it for a few months, but I mean,
Were you
I'm
in
not.
the Spotify beta? The Spotify now requires Facebook. All new Spotify accounts require
Maybe.
Facebook.
Okay,
Period.
maybe.
End of line.
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I don't
that's
like
smart,
that. I
though,
think-
for them, because that's... I mean,
Oh, it's wonderful for them. It's
It's
free advertising
marketing.
for Spotify. It links the two of them together, but you know, if
it
you
probably
don't wanna-
helps them when they negotiate with the record companies, because they'll say, listen, give us a deal
Right.
and allow your products to be on our service, and in exchange for that, we'll pay you this amount. But also, every time someone listens, you're going to get all this free advertising on their social network. So if
Sure.
someone's
The problem is you're basically tying yourself to a company you have no control over.
So
Well,
are the
we all
days
signed
of
up
an
for
independent
Facebook.
login gone?
That's what everyone is trying for. That's what Facebook wants, and that's what Google wants.
yeah, you could scam it.
When-
You could
when-
create a second.
when-
Now
when
you can get
they
a second
say-
computer and you create a second Facebook account. Don't sign anybody into it. John Smith, sign up
When-
for Spotify and have your speakers hooked up to that computer. You could
When
scam
Google
it.
says that Google Plus is an identity service, that's what they mean. That the days of an independent login are over. That's what Google is gunning for. That's what Facebook is gunning for.
End of the world. All right,
Well,
I got a
hope people-
question.
No,
I need
no,
to-
Cats and
why-
dogs
why-
living together.
what Google should
Cataclysmic.
do for
Go
their
ahead.
music's sake is they should buy Spotify. That's what they should do. That would both cut off the Facebook dilemma and at the same time give them a lot more music. That's what they should do.
I don't think that's a priority for him. I think he wants to do Facebook. I mean, they buy companies all the time, but I don't think they have a problem just working with niche companies that are good at what they do. Unless it's a feature they can
No, I just
incorporate,
think
and
it'd
this
be
could
smart
merge
for
into that.
Google to buy them if they could. I don't know if they can do it or not, but it'd be a smart move on their part.
I don't know if they could afford them. They're a hot company right now with a
Oh, they can
big
afford
feature.
anything.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
true.
much. They can afford pretty much anything. Because, I mean, like I said, Google Music right now is just not on the ball. It just doesn't do. I mean, if they want to simply use it as a service for people to upload their music and stream it, then okay, they got it made. But if they actually want people to buy music, they just don't have it there.
All right. Well, we've gone through the official things. I was going to get Angie to talk about a tablet. We're going to do that next week because she couldn't do it tonight. They're partying at the moment, so she didn't want to participate. I can't blame her. Sounds like a lot more fun than what we're doing. So let me. Any final thoughts here? Let me get Pam. Anything interesting happen with Google Plus this week? What you up to? You look cute with your mustache.
Thanks. Nothing really. My Chrome crashed and I had to reinstall it. And, I think I was running some apps that were messing with it. It notified me that every single person uncircled me, which I knew wasn't true. So
we
I
all
had
got
to,
together, Pam. You posted one too many times.
one too many Thanksgiving recipes or something, right?
Oleg was the leader. He organized everyone. Oleg, any final thoughts this week? It's been an interesting week. I'm surprised you all showed up on Thanksgiving week. I ate a lot of food, had a great time, and everyone went shopping, I guess. Or I guess it was flat, I think the results were. But how was your Google Plus week?
My main deal this week was, not main deal, but one of the things I really like kind of stood out was the Samsung ad for, anti-Apple ad, which I thought was done brilliantly in 1 minute time.
That was funny. The guy with the purse, the whole deal. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
funny.
The line, the whole.
I can't do that. I'm creative. Yeah, it was funny.
Exactly.
People are leaving. There's only 9 hours left. Yeah, so you got to just Google. Everyone watching the show has probably seen it, but Google. What was the ad for?
It was for Galaxy. For the phone. S2.
You know, speaking of ads, I guess everyone saw the Oleg. I'm sure you saw the commercial, or the Halloween house with that song "Party Rock" by
I didn't.
It's awesome. Just this guy does a Halloween decoration every year, and he has choreographed lighting, DMX controllers and stuff. And the band loved it, and they actually taped a commercial singing the song in front of the guy's house and gave away a car, a Kia, fairly low-end car, but still a free car. I'll take a free Kia.
Sure.
But that was cool. That'd be kind of neat if you did something. And I think it's up to, I looked at it today, it's like 9 million views, and he's probably, and a whole bunch of people are going to try to figure out how to do that. He could, I wish he'd do a YouTube tutorial on what he did there. Harold Carey Jr., no relation, or I guess, I don't know if you're related or not, to Harry Carey. But he's so sick of that. He's been getting that probably 50 years. So tell me, how was your Google Plus week this week?
Oh, it worked out really good. There was one of the things that they have some the trends and stuff feature goes on and off. And did you know that the What's Hot seems to be clicking on and off by itself?
I never use that. I use it when I go accidentally when I bump into it and I maybe click on it if I'm looking at that area. The more crap that they put on that left column, I don't know. I don't really.
Yeah, one of the things I put in the room here is Daria Musk is doing her hangout, and this is the most amazing thing. She had an article written about her in a magazine. That how somebody can be completely unknown, and right now she's got these big albums out, and she's one of the 2 people that have albums on Google Plus that you can get in her individual songs that I've seen posted up there. It's just amazing how someone can come out of nowhere, and this thing can make her a big, famous person.
Awesome.
I think she's from Seattle, so that's not out of nowhere.
I'm talking about she wasn't.
Where are you from
there
again?
Was a story.
Seattle. You're in Seattle.
There was a story of basically her sister. Her sister told her about Google Plus. He says, "Hey, she was doing the local little taverns and bars in town, and her sister told her about Google Plus and says, hey, why don't you come on over the weekend?" And so she went on for an hour, and then next weekend she went on for 8 straight hours. She did an 8 straight hour concert, and ever since then she's been on TED Talks and everything.
Yeah.
Bruce, any exciting Google Plus news this week?
Well, I feel like I'm being sucked down the social media vortex, and I'm really wanting to figure out a way just to do Google Plus and nothing else if I can do that. But I have enjoyed this new Google extension plugin called Hangout Canopy. Somebody that was earlier in the Hangout had posted a post about that. But it's kind of an interesting way to see the public hangouts that are going on, and I've dropped in on a couple of these, and it's been quite interesting to meet some different people. So that's been something new for me in the Google Plus arena.
Now, the one thing that we incorrectly initially, when they started listing, when you'd go to the Hangout thing, or just in general, I think it was first when you would start a Hangout, but then, or I could be wrong, but now on Google Plus it tells you that there are 2 public Hangouts going on or whatever. But I think that only lists the ones in your circles, whereas Hangout Canopy lists everything, right? So it's they're both handy because I'm more interested. Right, I am more interested in if I were in a Hangout mood, I would be more interested in joining one that one of you folks are in.
Right, circles, yeah.
But if
I agree.
none of you are in one, then I might look, and it may be if Britney Spears only has 8 people in her Hangout, I might sneak in there.
It's always fun to be in one of the developer Hangouts that's public, and for a bunch of people to join, and for the developers to say, okay. So what are you developing? And the person who's just joined said, huh? What's a developer? You know, they found it via Hangout Canopy. They have no idea what they just joined. They have no idea who they're talking to or why the rest of us are here. So I think it's great in some ways, but it's interesting to see how people still need to understand what's going on with it.
Sure. Sure.
So are developers the ones who are primarily getting this open air feature that you hear talked about? Are they, I know it's being rolled out selectively, but are they the primary ones that get that?
Open air what?
Yes, it's the on-air. What he's talking about is the on-air broadcast.
No.
Live on-air broadcast.
Hangouts on air are very narrow, very restricted. They're mostly for celebrities at this point.
Okay.
The biggest reason from what the Hangout developers have told me is that they can't figure out how to handle the liability issues associated with live Hangouts on air.
That's interesting.
They can't figure out the liability, and they can't quite figure out the resource allocation, but they're still working on it.
Well, it's a free service,
Also, keep in mind that's from Seattle too.
That's right. Denny Gursky is I've talked to before. He's on the Hangout team. They're in Seattle. I don't know if they get. I don't think they get all the same stuff. They're
not just in Seattle. They're in Kirkland, which is exactly where I live.
But I don't think they get all the same freebies, right? Do they get all the the jacuzzi in every office?
No, I think so. Yeah, there was one guy. Yeah,
they get very similar ones. Yegi actually works at the Kirkland office and had a report on what their freebies were.
Yeah, and it's pretty expensive.
So you could go back and look at his last post.
How big is it? Do you just walk in there, Oleg, and?
It's about, I think there's like 5 buildings. I mean, it's nothing compared to Microsoft in terms of size, but I mean, Microsoft is a city, but this thing is much smaller. But at the same time, nice new buildings. I drive my son to school. I go by there practically a couple of times a week. But they're nice places. I've been to one of their focus groups one time, so I actually went inside. But I was taken through a dark kind of maze into a room, and with no windows, that kind of deal.
What kind of security is there?
I didn't see any. This lady came out to the lobby to meet me, and she took me through, like I said, through this kind of a almost backdoor type deal to get into this room. And we were in this room, and then I just got out, and that was the end of it. So I haven't seen any kind of special security. I'm sure they have some, but I have not been to where the slides are and the colored bowls are, or gym or anything like that. I haven't seen any of that stuff.
Amy, can I pick on you real quick? Or I guess Amy's on the phone. I don't know. Are you there? All right. Zoned out. Okay. Hey, I want to thank everybody for being in our awesome hangout here and joining us, the folks who watch live or watch afterward on Google Plus Week. We're here every Friday live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time now, and it's 1 a.m. GMT, but sometimes it's midnight depending on what we do with our time in the U.S. I want to thank Ahmed for giving us the information on Egypt at the top of the show. His internet, he comes and goes, so we can't we get him on when he can, and we appreciate him letting us know what's going on. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, for watching, and for participating. I am Dan McDermott, and you can catch me on Google Plus at gplus.to/McDermott, or just go to Google Dan McDermott and you'll find me. I'm the short one. The other one's a photographer somewhere. But anyway, I want to thank everybody, and I will see you next Friday night, if not before. But next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern USA time for another edition. That would be episode 19 of Google Plus Week.